This is Tom Robleski, the political editor of the Staten Island Advance. We're here at the newspaper's headquarters in Grasmere with Advance editor Brian Leyline and also Advance City Hall Bureau Chief Sally Goldenberg. We're talking about the denouement of the Spitzer administration, the beginning of the Paterson administration in Albany. The Staten Island was the one place, would you say, that Spitzer actually had a legacy despite his brief time in the governor's office?
Yeah, I think you could say that, Tom. I think, although I didn't see him very much myself, we met a few times. He did have an interest in Staten Island, scene because of a few political connections he had here over the years. But we were fortunate in December of 2007 to get to sit down with the governor and discuss some island issues. And I thought, I was very confident at that point that we were going to get some more attention out of the governor's office and a number of state agencies to address some problems on Staten Island. I think it's unfortunate that Staten Island, it's a good chance that Staten Island's going to have to start back at square one to try to fix some of the problems that we see here.
What were some of those issues? You want us to elaborate on those a little bit?
Well, when we met with the governor, it was just actually before Bob Gigante's swearing in the St. George Theater back in, I guess it was December 2007. It was Sally and myself and Mark Hanley, our political editor, editorial page editor, and Judy Randall. And I was thinking before we met, what issues are we going to throw on the table? And the governor, I guess as anybody who has ever sat with the guy knew, he was a pretty intense guy, and he wanted to get right to the heart of Staten Island's problems. So I laid out three issues for them: one being transportation, one being the economy, and one being the medical health care issue on Staten Island, which is pretty severe. And he addressed two of the three. Healthcare we really didn't get into, and ironically, and I think Sally can talk a little bit more about that, healthcare is definitely the issue this week on Staten Island in terms of what's happened with Richmond University Medical Center and the state's role and what could be the future of that hospital.
Yeah, we didn't really get to talk about it much that day, but I think what the new governor has to do now is work on either freeing up some money to bail Richmond University Medical Center out of its, I think it's $26 million in debt. It needs the Industrial Development Agency fund, which is a state-run fund. It needs that money to have a tax-free opportunity to pay off debt, and it has to pay off that debt by June. So the legislature hasn't worked out an agreement yet, and they really need the governor or somebody to step in and say, even if there's no, overall bill to free up this money, we're going to make one exception for this one hospital. And we didn't really get to talk too much to Spitzer about that, although he did seem kind of to take an interest in the details of these different issues on Staten Island. But that's definitely the most major thing that I think Staten Island needs the state for right now.
Is that program still available, or has that program lapsed?
It's sunset on January 31st, and there's no bill. The Senate and the Assembly and Bloomberg and everybody involved can't agree on a prevailing wages agreement, so there's no bill right now. So there's money in a fund, but there's, it's locked.
First blush thoughts about David Paterson?
I don't know personally the man at all. I think the tone that was set is good. I think we do need a little kind, gentle at New York State. I think dealing with the state legislature is going to be a whole new issue for the man. Sex scandal, listen, we're going to be hearing about this over and over and over again in America. The deeper the press digs into these things. So I guess it's something he has to address and make people comfortable with that he got over it. I think back to the Spitzer issue, though, the one thing that really, I think, could have helped Staten Island, if I think, Tom, you remember, Sally, remember, when we were looking at the development situation on Staten Island in terms of overdevelopment, we challenged Mayor Bloomberg to drive around Staten Island with us. And the mayor took us up on that. And we spent 3.5 hours driving through all the shores of Staten Island with the mayor one morning. That culminated at a press conference in South Beach on Sand Lane, where he announced the overdevelopment task force, which I think went a long way in controlling the zoning on Staten Island. Well, when we met with Spitzer in December, he agreed to take that same ride with us, but this time to look at transportation, the economy. We were going to go to the teleport, and also at that point, I was hoping I could get him into the healthcare issue. In terms, we'd have him in a van, trapped in a van for 2 or 3 hours. That's an opportunity we lost. I would like the new governor of the state, to somehow come to Staten Island sometime in the next few months to take a look at the situation here, because it's a situation that's not going away.
If you want to hear more from this interview, check out my Politburo blog on silive.com tomorrow.